I'm Mike.
And I'm Karen.
We are retired young. Gonna leave the cornfields of Minnesota for the tundra of Alaska.
Hey, big guy, what are you doing up there?
Ready to go?
Yep, I think we're set to go.
Sure we're forgetting something.
I'm sure.
Alright.
Heading north to Alaska.
North to Alaska.
First time we've seen our traveling companions for the next 3 months. So we're not.
Am I just an idiot?
What we've done. It's kind of fun. Alright, I don't think I can make it through on the left. Clearance 10 feet. We cannot do that. So we're just getting used to our traveling partners, Larry and Cheryl, and they've got a fifth wheel that's new to them, and it's got a residential fridge, and they've got an inverter, and their inverter keeps overheating, and so we plan to do a lot of dry camping. Not sure how that's going to go for them. When we were planning this trip, Karen and I talked about what would we do if we break down or they break down. I mean, we don't want to, one couple shouldn't goof up the trip for the other couple, but I don't know, I didn't think we'd run into problems second day out, yeah. Well, Karen's navigating has brought us to a new kind of location. Well, a little tiny dirt road. So this is where Google Maps says Provincial Park is. So I think we found our park, McQuillan Lake Provincial Park. We got a layer of dust over everything because our little escapade, and in Karen's defense, it was really poorly marked. Or, I mean, I think the Google thing was just off, and sometimes I get a little testy when she brings me in these wild goose chases. Looks like we got a big layer of bugs on our front end. There's a wet morning. Our traveling companions already left, which is good. They're trying to get a jump on. I think we scared them last night saying we had a big day today. The rain like all night long, and we're a little worried about getting out of here. Here's our companions. Hopefully they make it on okay. After 5 days on the road, we'd went 1,600 miles and arrived at Dawson Creek, the beginning of the Alaska Highway. There are many documentaries about how and why the Alaska Highway was built. Here is the thumbnail version. The Alaska Highway was constructed during World War II to connect Alaska with the roads to the U.S. in case the Japanese invaded Alaska. Canada agreed to let the U.S. build the highway as long as it was turned over to Canada after the war. Construction was managed by the U.S. Corps of Army Engineers, and they were assigned 10,000 men, a third of which were black soldiers. The original road was 1,700 miles long and went from Dawson Creek, British Columbia, to Delta Junction, Alaska. It was built in just 8 months. It really was an amazing accomplishment.
The Alaska Highway has come a long way. This is arguably one of the most beautiful drives in the entire world. Here the highway runs along Munchell Lake in British Columbia.
There's a lot of beautiful scenery. If you stopped at every turnout point or picture point, it would take you a long time to get through the Alaska Highway. We saw quite a bit of wildlife. We saw buffalo. We saw, they're called Stone Mountain sheep. They're a certain variety of sheep that are found in this area. We saw a lot of bear, probably a dozen bear along the road, but we were not good enough to get a good picture of any bears, but trust us, we did see some bears. Didn't see any moose though.
So most of the vehicles we see on the road are crazy truck drivers, And of course, a lot of campers, a lot of RVers, mostly retired people. A few motorcyclists, even in the rain. And then world travelers. This is kind of a different kind of setup. We think it's from Germany.
That said, a lot of the driving on the Alaska Highway gets to be maybe even a little bit monotonous. You go up over a big hill, come down over a river, cross a bridge, go back up over a big hill. In our experience, the Alaska Highway really tests the integrity of your RV. We had curtains that fell down inside. We had some water leak that came from nowhere and then went away on its own, and at least we hope it went away on its own. We had, and our traveling companions had a lot more problems, and it just seems like anything that can go wrong will go wrong with your RV. The other thing about driving on the Alaska Highway is it's not a relaxing kind of a drive. I mean, if you can drive 500 miles in a day on the freeways back in the U.S., you know, maybe 60% that far up here. I mean, you just got to kind of be on your toes all the time. The cruise control speeds up too much over the hills, and then you got to put on your engine brake going down, and it just is a very kind of taxing kind of a drive.
Look, the rain cleaned off our windshield, so now we don't have so many bugs on it anymore.
Oh, that'll last for
5 minutes. One of the popular destinations is Laird Hot Springs. It's kind of hard to get into. You have to make a reservation early in advance. They do have some first come, first serve spots, and we were able to get in there. We got in there kind of early, so we were able to get a spot in there. And that worked out really good. The reason why it's popular is because of the hot springs. So every chance we get, Mike has to stop and do a drone shot. Here we are going over a bridge. He just loves to do that for some reason. I guess it's a new challenge for him. He also likes to go under bridges. And at the end of the day, we return to our campsite. This is us coming into our campsite and the drone following us.
Coming across the border from Canada down into Skagway is beautiful. You go through customs and you come down this big, huge mountain, and it's wonderful. It was rainy and cloudy the day we were up there, but it was spectacular.